Hey, welcome to the Pastor Study. This is the first Bible study for 2021 here at New Life Community Church. We are continuing a Thursday night series, so these videos are released a little bit before that, but Thursday night, January 7th at 7 p.m., there will be a live Zoom discussion from Matthew chapter 7. So we're continuing this series in the book of Matthew. We've been in the Sermon on the Mount for a while, and I had to laugh this morning because just a few minutes ago, before recording this, I got an email from my daughter's school, right? 2021, they just started school yesterday. The email was like, the internet's down, so, there's nothing we can do. If the internet doesn't come back up soon, all the teachers are going to go home and try to teach from there. So anyway, just a huge mistake. And my first thought was, well, who's responsible? We got to blame somebody. Somebody was asleep at the job. Someone needs to be in trouble. Someone needs to pay for this, right? And then I looked at the passage that we're studying, and it's on being judgmental. So God may be trying to tell me something, be a little more compassionate, don't always assume the worst about everybody. So with that being said, we're going to talk about judgmentalism, judgment. So whether you are someone who has experienced harsh judgment in your life, or whether you're on the side of someone who is predisposed to being judgmental and you need a little bit of rebuke for that, don't go away, because we're going to talk about stuff like that. Hi, I'm Stuart Perry. I'm the pastor at New Life Community Church in beautiful Burlingame, California. We are absolutely convinced that a personal relationship with Jesus Christ is the best thing ever for your life right now, but also for your life eternal. And because of that, we are committed to pursuing that relationship with courage and passion and creativity with anybody and everybody who would want to join us. Whether you're, like Moses zenning out on the mountain, speaking face to face to God, or whether you're not even sure you have a spirit because of things you did in your past, or you're not sure you ever did. We want to pursue a relationship with God with you, because not only are we convinced it's the best thing that will ever happen to you, we're also convinced, as difficult as it is sometimes, that pursuing God in community is the best way to pursue God. And so we're going to do that. We're also going to do it with humility, because we have seen, like you probably have, the tremendous damage that arrogant religion can do to people, families, communities, and all that. So we're going to do it with humility, passion, courage, creativity, and all things that are good. So if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that anytime a new sermon or Bible study or some other kind of content is published on our YouTube page, you'll know about it. If you live in the Bay Area, go to our website, nlcommunitychurch.org/I'm-new, and there's a short form there. You can fill that out. Let us know that you're here so that when we're able to meet people in person, we can reach out to you and begin an in-person relationship with you in pursuit of this relationship with God. So with all that being said, I want to talk to you today about judgment and judgmentalism. And it's from Matthew. The teaching from Jesus is from Matthew chapter 7. It's in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, although we're getting towards the end of the Sermon on the Mount. And he says this is chapter 7, beginning with verse 1. He says, "Don't judge, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way that you judge others, you will be judged. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Don't give dogs what is eternal or what is sacred. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. This is just a simple teaching of Jesus. Don't judge. But knowing what that means and how to apply it is honestly one of the real challenges, because does that mean that we don't speak up for ourselves when someone is mistreating us? Does it mean that we don't speak up for someone else when someone is mistreating them? Does it mean that we don't call out lies when someone is lying? Does it mean that when someone is dangerous, we don't discern whether there's someone that we should be around or not? How far does this do not judge thing go, and what does it mean? And I have to confess, I'm a little bit hesitant to go into everything I have to say about this right now, because as God would have it, I'm preaching on this passage for this coming Sunday's worship service, and I feel like I have some insight into the passage that the Holy Spirit gave me that's really important, that I'm excited to share it with the congregation or with anybody actually who will be watching that worship video. But I have more to say on this topic or on this passage than can go in a sermon. But I want to just focus on this question for this Bible study, because this is not the focus of the sermon. On this Bible study on, what is the difference between judging someone and being discerning about them, loving someone under all circumstances versus kind of a conditional love on them being a moral person that is doing and being the way that we want them to be. And I watched a special Sunday night on CNN, Jimmy Carter, rock star president, or something along those lines. And it details his relationship, and I didn't know any of this, but it details he had a great love, Jimmy Carter, former U.S. president, had a great love for music. And there was a lot in the video that I didn't realize, but one of the things was that he had personal relationships with all these musicians, famous musicians, from Bob Dylan. Maybe the Allman Brothers were a primary group. Willie Nelson was featured. A lot of very prominent musicians from around the time when Carter was president. And there's this great scene, and it was really striking to me because I'm a Jimmy Carter fan, so I'm predisposed to like him. And there's this scene, and they've been using this scene in the ad, so you may have seen it even if you haven't seen the whole thing, where Willie Nelson is talking about how he smoked pot in the White House when he came and was a visitor that Carter had invited in, which is, a little bit shocking. I mean, this is the White House, there's security everywhere, and here's Willie Nelson confessing to having smoked pot there. And I guess the story that Nelson confessed to, maybe it was in an autobiography or something, was that he had smoked pot in the White House when he was there visiting Carter, and that he had smoked with one of the White House staff. Well, they pan to Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter is kind of laughing and smiling and says, well, that's not exactly true. Willie Nelson smoked pot with my son in the White House, but he didn't want to tell the truth because he was trying to protect. At any rate, I was like, wow, I can't believe he's confessing that on a video that's gonna be around forever, and it's gonna, and the part of what is so compelling about it is that Carter, I think by everybody's account, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, a liberal or a conservative, Carter is a genuine Christian. Like Carter, while he was president, Carter used to go across the street to one of the churches nearby and taught Sunday school on Sunday mornings while he was president of the United States. He still teaches Sunday school on Sunday mornings at a small church in Georgia where he lives now. I mean, he's not a Christian in word only. He's famous for Habitat for Humanity and all this. So whether you like his politics or not, he's a genuine Christian. And here he is in a national, international televised story about his life, confessing that Willie Nelson not only smoked pot in the White House, but did it with his son, correcting Nelson's autobiography. And then they have a quote from his son later in the video, after like the Allman Brothers got busted for cocaine abuse while they were friends with Jimmy Carter. And there's just all this kind of immorality that's being talked about. Carter is able to remain friends with these people while not getting dragged into the same things that they were doing. But even they're doing those things sometimes in his presence, like putting things that he values at risk. And his son, is kind of summarizing why Carter was able to have such good relationships with all these people. And he says, I don't think there's a judgmental bone in his body, that he wants what's best for everybody all the time, whether they're at their best or their worst. I'm paraphrasing this quote, but it really struck me because it's not that Carter compromised, and it's not that it wasn't clear who he was or what kind of life he supports. It's just that, and then I wonder, is it really that Carter wasn't judgmental? Or is it that Carter judged with grace? What's the difference between judging someone, being discerning, and being judgmental in a way that people don't want to be around you? So those are some of the things I want to talk about this Thursday. If you're interested in joining us in the live Zoom discussion, it's a small group Bible study, and just DM me or send me an email or something asking for the credentials, and I will give you the details. Otherwise, leave comments in the comment section. Feel free to have some discussion online, or just talk to God about what your thoughts are and what your questions are. Have a great day. God bless.